on the margins and in the shadows and grows toward the center, that the center is a place of arrival and rarely one of real generation, and that even the most foundational stories can be changed. But now I recognize it's not the margins, the place of beginnings, or the center, the place of arrival, but the pervasiveness that matters most. We live inside ideas. Some are shelters, some are observatories, some are windowless prisons. We are leaving some behind and entering others. At its best, in recent years, this has been a collaborative process, so swift and powerful that those paying closest attention can see the doors being framed, the towers arising, the spaces taking shape in which our thoughts will reside, and other structures being knocked down. Oppressions and exclusions, so accepted they're nearly invisible, become visible en route to becoming unacceptable, and other mores replace the old ones. Those who watch with care can see the structure expanding, so that some of those who object or ridicule or fail to comprehend will, within a few years, not even question their lives inside those frameworks. Others try to stop these new edifices from arising. They succeed better with legislation than with imagination. That is, you can prevent women from having access to abortions more easily than you can prevent them from thinking they have the right to an abortion. You can see change itself happening if you watch carefully and keep track of what was versus what is. That's some of what I've tried to do over the years, in this book and others, to see change and understand how it works, and how and where each of us has power within it. To recognize that we live in a transformative time, and that this process will continue beyond what we can now imagine. I've watched the arising of new ways of naming how women have been oppressed and erased, heard the insistence that the oppression and erasure will no longer be acceptable or invisible. Often, even things that impacted me most directly became clearer through this process, carried out by many of us together. I've seen many writers express versions of the same general principles, seen the ideas catch on, spread, become incorporated into conversations about what is and should be, and sometimes I've been one of those writers. To see it unfolding is exhilarating, and sometimes awe-inspiring. This is a time in which the power of words to introduce and justify and explain ideas matters, and that power is tangible in the changes at work. Forgetting is a problem. Words matter, partly as a means to help us remember. When the cathedrals you build are invisible, made of perspectives and ideas, you forget you are inside them, and that the ideas they consist of were in fact made, constructed by people who analyzed and argued and shifted our assumptions. They are the fruit of labor. Forgetting means a failure to recognize the power of the process and the fluidity of meanings and values. I heard Gerard Baker talk recently. He's Mandan Hidasa from the Fort Berthold Reservation in North Dakota, and he spoke about his work in the national parks to change the way Native people were present, literally as visitors and employees, as well as in structures, signs, language, and other representations. Immensely tall, enormously funny, a brilliant raconteur, he told us how he rose from doing janitorial work to being superintendent at two national monuments he'd told his family he'd never work at: Little Bighorn Battlefield, which was, until 1991, named Custer Battlefield National Monument, and Mount Rushmore. At both parks, he changed what the place meant and whom it was for. At one, he got death threats for doing so. Some people intend to keep the old versions in place by violence. Recalling what he said, remembering my own early 1990s re-education about Native American presences in the United States, contemplating the conversations we have now and those we don't, I wanted to yell at some of the people I run into, "If you think you're woke, it's because someone woke you up, so thank the human alarm clocks." It's easy now to assume that one's perspectives on race, gender, orientation, and the rest are signs of inherent virtue, but a lot of ideas currently in circulation are gifts that arrived recently, through the labor of others. Remembering that people made these ideas, as surely as people made the buildings we live in and the roads we travel on, helps us remember that.